Welcome to Master It Monday. I am your host, Maggie Carey from Master It Media. On Master It Mondays, we are here to share tips and tricks to help you make the most out of your social media so that you can gain an audience of raving fans. Today's topic is going to be about becoming Google Great. And I have a special guest with us who's going to give us 5 steps to becoming Google Great. Are you ready to get Google Great? Because this is where you're going to learn from Michael Tritthart, an international technology instructor who's going to be joining us from Texas. So if anyone's in the house, I want you to show Michael your love. Here he is. Hello, Michael. How are you today?
Hey, Maggie, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. So Michael
Yep.
has been one of my mentors in with Master at Media. He is a business coach as well as provides training across the United States to help businesses and real estate professionals promote their businesses and a whole bunch of other classes that he offers throughout the United States. Michael, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, absolutely. Happy to do so. Afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Michael Tritthart, based out of McKinney, Texas. And what I do in a normal world, whatever that's going to be, right, is travel and train all over the United States and Canada. Of course, we're doing lots of Zooms over the last year. But I've been doing this type of training for all business owners for the last 20 years. Started in 2001 doing all of this. Prior to all of that, I was a middle school, high school teacher, football coach here in the state of Texas. Did that for 6 years. So I always joke with my classes that I've heard every question known to man. Heard that my first year teaching middle school. So as we go through a lot of the training sessions that I do, and we try to implement everything there in the class, we do what I call tell, show, do, which is I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to show you what we're going to do. Now we're actually going to go out and do it. And a great extension of all of that has been working with Master Networks for the past couple of years as the head coach of the 5+1 Mastery Program. And a big part of that program is going in and making sure that all the Mastery members have their Google My Business pages set up and optimized for the maximum amount of exposure for their business to help drive more traffic to their business.
Fantastic, Michael. Thank you so much. Just put down in our chat, make sure you say hi. Let Michael know what kind of business you're from. That'll help us cater the presentation as well as Michael can answer some specific questions you have at the end of the presentation. So, Michael, should I put up the presentation and we can start?
Absolutely.
All right, let's go for it.
Yeah. So if you just want to jump to that next slide there. Just a little bit of my background information again.
Michael, you're controlling the presentation. Got it.
There we go. That might help. There we go. So a little bit of my background information. You guys are going to be able to go out and find all the information on michaeltritthart.com. So if you have any questions that come up later, we've got all that information right there for you. And the biggest thing about Google My Business is, number one, creating the awareness. It's been out for 7 years. So it's relatively new in the technology world. It's only been out here for 7 years. But the problem is only 44% of the businesses in the United States have it set up. And of that 44% that have it set up, I would say less than 10% have actually gone in and added information to it like they should, such as the post and the photos and the reviews. Maggie, I know you've been working a lot in the Google My Business world. What's kind of your thought process on that? Would you agree with those stats?
Oh, absolutely. And a lot of businesses will post they create their Google My Business account and then they just leave it sitting there dormant, which was what I was doing. So I was with you. If this is what's happening to you, be aware you're not alone. This is where Michael's taught me a little bit more about continuing to post on Google. And I think that's where the engagement comes in, right? But I am seeing a lot of businesses who don't even know what Google My Business is. Forget about not even having a page or posting on it on a regular basis. Michael, we have some people joining us. Just want to say hello to Brian Salt. Hi, guys. Brian's coming to us from Florida. And then we have Lucy Benedetto. She's an events coordinator. She's up here in our lovely state of New York. And Amy is a jewelry designer. She does handcrafted jewelry in our area. Thanks for joining us. And then we have Frank Bastone. He is the vacation therapist. I am looking forward to taking my vacation in 2022. Frank, give me a call. But yeah, Michael, this is where we run into a lot of challenges with businesses. The thing is that they keep forgetting about Google My Business as a way to help their SEO and to get free publicity, right?
Let me put it this way. I have multiple business owners that I've helped to set this up with, and they are making an extra $100,000 annually to their bottom line exclusively from the Google platform and exclusively from Google My Business. And the best part about it is everything I'm going to show you today, everything that Maggie can help you to set up and build on that Google platform, it's completely free. It just comes down to leverage. That's where Maggie comes into play, because a lot of people go, well, I'm running a business. I don't have time to set this up. I mean, I think most business owners would raise their hand and say, yeah, I have time to earn an extra $100,000 annually to my bottom line. And that's what we're talking about is the power of this platform and what it can do. But it's more than just setting it up. Like you said, you have to go in and you have to invest some time or some leverage capabilities to have somebody go out and do it for you. But it is easy to do.
And it's just a matter of, it's the same with any social media platform. The more you feed it, right, the more you engage with it, the more you get reviews, all of these little things that are small little things where you're spending your time. You know, the one thing we cover in our mastery program is that when you dedicate this time, this is a money earning activity, right? This is, you know, Michael, we still have more people popping on. Let's just say hi to Carolyn Moss and Paula Helgerson, who's a fellow Mastery Program member. Lucy's coming from Pleasant Valley. Thank you, Lucy. And Amy, actually, we were talking, she had taken one of my Master at Monday classes that I offer for free online. And we were talking about how Google, you know, she's used Google to demonstrate and show all of her beautiful jewelry. And she says they keep encouraging me to post more photos because why?
People love to see photos. They love to see the engagement, right? We're visual animals.
Yes.
You can sit there and write text about your business all you want, but unless you're going out and posting photos and videos, people are truly not going to engage with that. I'll give you this little side example. My son is 18. He's going to be going to Abilene Christian University in the fall. He's wrapping up high school right now. Tried to get a job after basketball. Couldn't get a job that he liked. And probably about 5 weeks ago, we sat down and he goes, hey, you know, I like cleaning my car. Why don't I go start my own business? Why don't I go start my own car detail business? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. I'll help you. You know, entrepreneur, totally. I train them all day and you want to be one? Let's do it.
That's right.
So he created Jet, cardetail.com. I don't know if Maggie, if you want to put that out there so they can look at it, but jetcardetail.com, that's his initials. And that links out to his Google My Business page. He's had it set up for about 4 weeks. He's got over 2,500 views to his page so far. He's got 7 reviews on his page. He's getting inquiries and calls coming in off the page pretty much left and right. And at Connect, which is Master Network's annual convention, I had some people who just did a Google search in Allen, Texas, and they said car detail near me. And they're like, check this out. And his page was already coming up.
Right.
So
we talk about how you could be an established business for 25 years, 30 years, 40 years, and not come up when people search you.
It doesn't matter because here's the rule of thumb. Google loves Google more than any other company. And you may have gone out and spent 25 years building your website and doing all of this other type of stuff. But then here comes an 18-year-old car detailer who goes all in on Google My Business, and he's going to outrank you in 4 weeks on Google because, again, Google loves Google. So that's the what. You know, what is Google? And I gave you a little bit of the why. And here's what it would look like without Google My Business. And I just randomly polled a Sarah Smith. I mean, Sarah Smith's a pretty common name. I don't know the realtor on the left. I don't know the home designer on the right. But if I just went out and did a search for Sarah Smith Realtor, I'm going to pull up Sarah Smiths all over the United States, right? And I can't really distinguish between the different Sarahs because nobody's standing out. See that huge white space on the right of the search? That is Google My Business not set up. So what I tell everybody, I go, Maggie, that's your vacant property. You haven't started to build on it. It's your land.
Mhm.
You can do
Right.
whatever you want to it, but it's time to build. And so if you go in and start to build on it, it starts to look like this. And so my son's got his page already set up. It's looking great. There's mine. Maggie's has hers. Many others on this StreamYard have their page set up as well. I know Paula does. And when it comes to getting it set up, it's basically at that point feeding the machine, right? And we're going to talk about the big 5 spots that you're going to focus on with your page, but it's actually pretty easy to feed the machine. There's a member of the same program that Maggie is in. His name is EJ, and he's an electrician down in Louisiana. And we set his page up, and part of the mastery program, I'll go in and I will sit down with Maggie, with EJ, with Paula, with everybody else that's in that program, and make sure that we go through and really fine tune the Google My Business page. And so we sat down and did that with EJ. He did one of the big 5 elements, just one, really focused on it for the next 3 weeks. And after 3 weeks, I called him. I said, so how's it going so far? And he's like, Michael, the phones will not stop ringing. This is awesome. I mean, he's like, this is crazy that this one little element has just ramped up his business in a matter of 3 weeks.
And we talk about you don't know what you don't know, which is one of the driving forces for Master It Monday, is to make sure that people keep up with this technology. Like I just heard the other day that you can start scheduling Instagram stories. Well, that's massive, right? But when you are not using Google My Business for your to promote yourself, you're missing a free opportunity. Now, Michael, what's the stat? I know the last time we spoke, it was something like 78% of people use Google as their primary search engine. Is that still accurate?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Google and Chrome is the dominant search engine out there right now. Now, there's always up and comers. Just make no bones about it. There's always somebody gunning for the king, right? And Google right now is the king when it comes to searches, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, but it certainly is one, when you're playing the odds, 78%, right?
Absolutely.
We're looking at that. Think about when you're driving around and you're using Google Maps, right? Because Google My Business is connected to Google Maps. Like this is when you go to a restaurant. This is that thing that when you go to a restaurant and it says, well, what did you think of, XYZ restaurant? That's Google My Business at play. They want you to leave a review for somebody. So that's all being fed into Google My Business. So, right, this whole thing. So, share with us in the comments below some things that you've done. If you've done anything like Amy has with her photos, that you've done things with Google My Business that you found to be helpful, and share with the rest of us. Michael, I'm going to pull up your presentation. We can keep going on this.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. If they have anything that they want to share, if they have any questions, put those in there, and then Maggie just make sure we get all of those answered for them.
You got it.
But, as you're seeing here on the presentation, if you go out to maps.google.com on a laptop or on a desktop, it's going to bring you to, of course, Google's mapping system. If you're on your phone, it's going to be one of the apps that's integrated there on your phone. And many of us are going to go out. If we're in a new area, we're going to go out and go restaurants near me. Hike and bike trails near me, shopping near me, movie theater near me. I mean, whatever that you're looking for near me. And the 2 examples that I have right here, the one on the right is realtor near me. So, hey, I'm moving to the area. I need to find a realtor who's an expert. So let me find the realtors near me. Well, the ones that I've put the box around, these are actually real estate agents that I've worked with that have gotten to the left-hand side of that map search when you're on a laptop or when you're on a desktop. If you can get over there, what I always tell everybody is that's kind of like king of the hill. Once you're there, it's very hard for others to knock you off if you continue to feed the machine. And you can see in the example, I know it's hard to see it, but Brittany, she's got 41 reviews. Jane's got 43 reviews. Diana's got 14 reviews. it's going to be hard for somebody to knock them off if they continue down the path that they're going. And all three of those agents, I know for a fact, have generated massive amounts of business coming in from Google, because these are people that I communicate with on a regular basis. And Maggie, I've got an example on the left there that's a little bit closer to home for you guys. This is door repair. Now I'm gonna butcher the name, so you might have to help me here, but Wappingers Falls.
Wappingers Falls. Yeah.
So that is Stephen, who's part of Master Networks. He's up there in your neck of the woods. And what they do is they do home repair, and they focus on windows and doors. Now, let's think back to last year, COVID. One of probably the last industries that somebody would want to be working with in a COVID world is somebody's going to be coming to your house to do door and window repair, right? And especially in the state of New York right now with the rules and regulations that are out there. But Stephen has gone all in on this, and he was actually on stage at Master Networks at Connect last week for winning awards within the Mastery Program. They've exceeded all of their quarterly goals. They've already doubled their first quarter goal for 2021. They're on path to have their best year ever. And one of the reasons, now there's a couple factors, but one of the reasons, and a major reason, is they have gone all in with Google My Business. And he's like, Michael, we get to the store, we get ready to open up the door at our store at 9 a.m. every morning. We've got a line of people waiting to come in the store. And we ask them, how did you guys find us? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I was out on Google. I was searching on a map. I was doing an internet search, and you guys came up. And I want to clarify that point. There's a lot of people out there that don't know how they found you, because they don't know that they're using Google My Business. They just know that they're using Google.
That's right. And what I found with Stephen, and we've talked about how using it, because it isn't just putting the information in there. I shared a story early on in COVID where there was this local restaurant that I frequented, and I wanted to support them and order takeout. And I kept checking, and it said, they're closed, they're closed, they're closed. So when July hit, I'm like, I can't believe this company is still not open. I called them up. They were open, but their Google My Business page said they closed. Now they lost my business for how many months, and they lost gosh knows how many other business because they weren't keeping their things updated. As simple as just going in there and say, Memorial Day, you're closed, or even more important, Memorial Day, you're open.
Yep.
Right? You can put that in as a special date in your Google My Business page, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely you can. And that's a great point too, Maggie, is think of yourself as a steward of your community. You want to become the hub for everything that's happening in a positive manner for your community. And one of the best things that you can do is make sure that other business owners, restaurant owners, dry cleaners, and the such, small businesses have their page set up, and more importantly, like Maggie said, active and current, so people know what's going on with that business.
Yeah.
Because it's a huge opportunity for you to affect positive good onto the community and onto the neighborhood, and they're going to remember you for doing that. A fellow business owner is going to remember, Maggie, man, you did an amazing job of helping me to create that awareness. What can I do to help, right? And they're going to start asking you, what's an ideal referral that I can send to you? So you're going to start to become top of mind with these business owners, which is exactly what you want to happen in your business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we do find, as I'm a level 7 local guide on my personal account, right? And I know, Michael, you're up there as well. Whenever I go to a restaurant, this weekend, my daughter and I went to a restaurant, lovely outdoor seating, beautifully, eclectic atmosphere and food. I'm taking pictures of the food and I'm posting it. I'm taking pictures of hers, of mine, right? Of us together, right?
The sunset, if you're there at evening time, whatever, right?
Smiley, happy people sell, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
So, that leads me right into this topic. Look to the right there with Melinda and Brian, part of the mastery program as well. They gave me these stats. Does Google My Business really work for real estate? How about over 5,000 views on 1,100 plus photographs just in January, right? So if you go in and you start to add images to your business, it will resonate with people. And Melinda and Brian, we set their page up in June of last year, June of COVID 2020. And that's the only thing that they really have focused on in their business, is going in and being purposeful with that, and making sure that everything is set up the right way. They have increased their closed transactions by 20% since then. So massive, massive difference. Now, one of the things that you want to strive for, yes, we want to come up on maps.google.com. Yes, we want to have our Google My Business page set up. But one of the, I mean, this is kind of like the crowning achievement. If you can get into what's called the 3-pack, then the leads are going to start pouring in. And what I mean by that is, don't go out to maps.google.com, but just go out to Google. And if I do a search for, in this case, realtors near Little Elm, you're going to see Brian and Melinda come up in what we call the 3-pack. Because on that Google search, there's a map, and then there's 3 businesses underneath there. And everybody says, well, how do you get there? Google will never tell you how, because everybody's going to try to do it. But it's activity, you know, and it's being consistent with the Google platform in terms of photos and reviews and some other things. But if you can get into the 3-pack, that's when the phones will just literally start ringing off the wall. And that's what's happened with Brian and Melinda. And it's been a great thing for their business.
Yeah, and I've found, Michael, that when you know, yes, it has to do with a piece of your business,
Right.
right? Like it's it's like I always say, not having a a Google My Business page is like having your house without a door. You know,
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
it's there, but nobody can get in, right? Now you can have your websites and everything else, but how do they find your website?
Right. Right.
Right?
And
We
websites are important.
yeah,
Clickables, they are important. But again, if you're going to play in Google's ballpark, which is Chrome and Google search engine as well, why not use all the free tools that they're providing to you to play in that ballpark? Because
right.
it's an extra advantage for you.
Now here's something Brian's doing that I think is really critical, and this may come later in your presentation, but here he's great advice. Thank you. I agree. I love anyone review. So he's leaving. This is his reviews, right? This is the page to his review. Now I'm going to up you one, Brian. I want you to go into your Google My Business page, and I want you to give yourself a short. I think they call it a short name.
Yeah.
Okay. Because then you can say g.page/r/master@media, and that'll bring people right. But it's more of it's your name
It's customized.
versus right
This is a series
versus
of
that.
letters and numbers that come up.
Right. So, and
Maggie
if you
can
need help with that, you just reach out.
Yeah.
We can help you
Maggie
with
can
that.
definitely get you hooked up on that. But you definitely want to do that. So she has Master at Media. I have M Tritt. So Brian could have, you know, B Salt if he wanted to, or B Salt RE. You want to kind of keep it somewhat short. You don't want to make it too long, even though you could.
Right.
That just kind of gives it that customization, that look, that when somebody receives it, they go, "Oh, this is from Brian," versus, "Ooh, what is this like? I don't know what this is." Right?
Yeah, and people tend, when they see things like that, you know, and think about this, when you receive an email with things like that, what's the first thing you think? Is it
And
really?
yeah, exactly.
Exactly. All right. Let's keep going.
Absolutely. So here's what I call the big 5. And the first 2, they're pretty much kind of set it and forget it type of mentalities. 3, 4, and 5 is where you're going to spend more of your reoccurring time when it comes to Google. But when you go to the homepage of Google, you have the ability to kind of see the overview. As with any homepage, you're going to be able to see what's kind of going on in the system. But one of the biggest benefits of the homepage is you have the ability to download the Google My Business app. So when you're out and about and you want to add photos, respond to a review, just kind of manage the system on a mobile device, the app is pretty good for that. So I would highly recommend all Droid and iPhone users to download their respective app. If I go to info, that's where I'm going to spend some time in the very beginning, getting my stuff set up, being very thorough in the descriptions of my page. And a couple suggestions on that. You do have the ability to show your address or not show your address. Now, depending on which business vertical you're in, that's pretty important. For instance, real estate, they need to show their broker address. It needs to be there because people need to see the brick and mortar. But I was talking earlier with somebody who is in St. Louis and who is a home appraiser and offices from the house. I'm like, you don't need to show that because people are not going to come visit you for a home appraisal. You're going to be out and about all the time. So electricians and handymen and plumbers, they don't necessarily need to show their physical address unless they're selling, hardware from those stores. If you're more of the service industries, just know that you can hide that address, but you can also show where you service. So Maggie, I know you service a wide area. What would you say your service area would be?
So what I did with my business was I took the areas that I focus in, which are surrounding counties
Yeah.
from where I am. So I've got Putnam and Dutchess and Rockland and Connecticut, but we also go down to Westchester, right, just above New York City and a little bit into Connecticut. But frankly, I have clients in Texas and California, and we just signed somebody up from Indiana. I can work outside of that area, but I'm targeting my local area because I think there's a big need for that. And I'm also I want to kind of build my base first, right?
Right. Right.
So that's why I'm doing local. That's the thing. I had originally, and this is just a word of warning, I had originally had a physical location. And then I used, okay, so it was that physical location was great, but when you remove it, it's fine. Just be careful. Some people feel, oh, they're afraid to put in their home address. You need to be verified with Google. They want to make sure that you are who you say you are. This is, protection. So you can provide them, you have to provide them with the real address. Never, ever, ever put in a P.O. box as your address because that will get your account suspended, and it takes a while to get it unsuspended.
Yeah, that's a great point. And there is a channel of communication with Google My Business that Maggie can share with you, to where if you do get suspended or you have questions, you can actually talk to Google support and find out the reason why and how to overcome that suspension. And in many cases, they just need to see signage at that location that you actually office there, especially if it's a workspace where there's multiple suites, multiple businesses that are there, and you've listed that as your office. They just need to see that, hey, this is actually Brian's office. This is Amy's office, and just to verify it that way. So just know that if you do get suspended, it's not the end of the world. You can get out of that suspension. You just
Right.
got to show
You
where you're
just
at. Yeah.
Yeah, there and look, all of those things are there as protection so
Yeah.
that they're protecting the consumer so that they're verifying that this is a valid business.
Right.
I have one location where there's multiple businesses out of the same location, the same physical location. So they can have more that you can have more than one business. That comes up every once in a while too. Michael, when we're saying when somebody has more than one business, they're curious, do they set up more than one page? That's a great question. And feel free to leave questions like this in the chat below so Michael and I can answer them for you. But so if somebody has a business, like say they're an author and they do books but they also sell a certain product, but they're also a business coach. Can they have 3 different businesses in one location?
Absolutely. So one of the things that I have within my own account, think of Google My.
Well, guys, looks like we had a little technical issue. Seems like Michael has gotten kicked off of the live stream. Might be a connection issue down in Texas, so we're going to keep going. Please make sure that you leave your questions in the chat below. If Michael comes back on, we'll certainly add him. But I'm going to continue to give a little bit of chat. Now, here is what I love to see, right? I have Brian, who we just gave him a little bit of an idea to do something, and he acted on it right away. So there you have it. So this is a way that you can, this is where Master It Mondays come into play. We help businesses that are, just need a little bit of help with their social media. In addition to that, we also do what's called teleprompter. Teleprompter is a weekly, easy to follow, step by step information to help you with your social media creation. This is something that I designed based on what I was hearing when I was going on Master It Monday. And people were saying, Maggie, how do I come up with content every week? I can't keep up with all the hashtags and there's all this tech stuff, but I don't know how to use it. And what do I do? Well, this is where teleprompter comes in. Every week, my clients get an easy to follow newsletter that gives you tips and tricks on making that happen. So make sure that you find out more information about that. You can sign up and get an email every Wednesday with a whole bunch of value in it. One of the things that I did want to share about, oh, here comes Michael.
Yeah,
Ooh,
not sure
Mike.
what happened there.
I don't know, but thank you for coming back in. So I was just doing my little commercial on teleprompter, letting everybody know. And again, when I created teleprompter was something that I wanted to do based on some of the things I learned in the mastery program that Michael is the head coach for. So when I was looking at my business and looking how to provide a service to people who couldn't afford our flagship product but still needed help on social media. That's where teleprompter came in. And thanks to the guidance that I received from the coaches in the mastery program, that kind of helped. And that's where Stephen and Brian and a few amazing people, Paula, that are on the call today, have all benefited from the coaching program. So that was my finishing off that topic on the little commercial. Let's pull back Michael's
Yeah.
presentation and keep going.
Not sure where I lost you, but I think I was describing that you could do multiple businesses and then I got
Yes.
cut off. Is that right?
The multiple businesses. Yes.
Yeah. So you can go in. I have a Google My Business account, one single account, and I've got two businesses listed in there. My business, which is a training and website design team. And then I've also got my son's car detail business in there. So I'm part owner of his page, set it up in my account. So that way I can help him to load photographs, manage the reviews, kind of teach him the ropes type situation. Mm-hmm. But we've got somebody in Master Networks that I know that has one Google My Business account, but then she has 9 different businesses listed in that same account. So she can jump from each one, add photographs. Maybe they got a special going on, put a post out there for that special. So a lot of different things that you can do with that one account.
And that's the same with me. As you know, I have a digital publication as well, but I have 5 editions of that digital publication. So I've got all 5 of those, plus my Master It Media. And, in addition to that, I always encourage business owners to have somebody else as a backup admin, because you never know. Something happens, you get locked out. God forbid something happens to you health-wise. There's always somebody who can go into your account and edit that. And if you don't have a person that you trust in your life, contact Master It Media, because we're here to help business. We have a few businesses who've asked us to be their backup. So these are things that you can do to protect your account, because your account is valuable. The last thing you want to do is to not have access. Because now, Michael, some people can have an account online. Their business could have a location, a Google My Business page, and they're not the owner of it, correct?
That's right. Yeah, you got to be careful with that. I see this a lot, especially within the real estate world. There's a program out there called HomeSnap, where they'll go, hey, we'll part of our service, we'll set up your Google My Business page, and the agents are like, oh yeah, that's great, that's awesome, and they get it set up, and then they attend my class and go in, check the user settings, and realize that they are not the owner of their own page, and they're like, whoa, wait a minute, well, why is it set that way? And I tell them, you just kind of contact that company, let them know that you want full ownership, and then they'll relinquish that to you. So you got to be aware as to who's involved in your systems. Master It Media with Maggie. Of course, they're going to do a great job of managing it, but ultimately they're going to make sure that you, the business owner, are in full control over your brand, over your page.
Right. And that's, that's what we do for our clients. We post just like we would post to Facebook and Instagram, we post to Google My Business. It was one of the things that I made sure, because of the importance of Google My Business, that's where we are continuing to post graphics and links. And, because these things they come up in that Google My Business that Michael was showing you on the right side of your screen. If you scroll, if people are scrolling and looking at your hours and everything else, the photos, they're going to scroll down and see your posts too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And post is a big one, but I would say number three and number five are going to be your biggest things that you do. But number three, I always tell everybody 150 equals 1,000. And what I mean by that is if you go in and add 150 photographs or videos, and the videos need to be MP4 and they need to be pretty short, about 20 seconds or less. But if you add in 150 of those, that's going to equal a 1,000% increase in consumer engagement. And it literally, for many businesses, is like a light switch turning on in the algorithm. EJ did that, and the phone started ringing off the hook for his electrical company. So it's one of those things where if you go in and add those photographs, which by the way, you can do it in mass, you can do it in stages, however you want to do it, that's going to be a big thing for you. And that's, again, where a management company like Master It Media can help you with that. Because one of the things that I do for my son, and I do it for myself, before I load any photographs into those systems, I make sure that I watermark those with our company brand. So it just reinforces the brand, also kind of protects the photograph that people can't go out and just use it and grab it off the internet. But that's a huge part of Google My Business because we're visual animals. That's a big thing.
Right. So just to you've got home info, your photos, aim for 150, but don't stop there.
Right.
Posts, look at the dimensions of the post here. And then of course, reviews. And we've shown you a few ways that you can do reviews on your, and ask for reviews. Now, just this week alone, somebody had asked me for a review on Google My Business. I said, more than happy to. Would you mind leaving me one for the services we did for you or training? If somebody tells you, thank you so much for your help. I really appreciated it. You guys were amazing. Say, if you're so inclined, if you felt you received a 5-star service, make it easy for them. Give them the link, which you can easily get from your Google My Business page. And the other thing is, what I've also done is, do you get reviews on Alignable and Facebook and all these other ones? Copy and paste the review they gave you and said, if it makes it easier, this is what you said on my LinkedIn page or on my, on my, things like that. Then you've made it so easy for them. They don't have to come up with what to say because they already said it, and it's easy.
So here's the thing too, Maggie. Have you ever received a handwritten note of gratitude from somebody for your business?
Yes.
Okay. So I got one of these at Connect, right? I have it sitting right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a photograph of it. I'm going to put my brand on that. And then I'm going to drop that into Google Photos. So even those handwritten moments of gratitude can still pay off from a visual point of view if you go in and drop that into your photos as well. So there's a lot of different ways to really showcase your business with photos. Because people go, well, my business, I don't really have a lot of photos. Yeah, you do. It's photos of you if you're a Master Networks member, at a chapter meeting, at Connect, gratitude notes like that, skyline shots of the area that you work in and live in. I mean, just like, again, show people an all-around view of your business. And then with the posts are basically your call to actions. This is, if you have a special going on, maybe you have something that is for first responders, military veterans, 10% off your services for anything like that. You can showcase those. Added somebody new to your team, just won an award, just did this, just anything you want to shout from the mountaintop. That's what post is about.
And you've got things when you share things like I had shared a post of me sitting late night working in my office one day.
Yeah.
And I posted it, and it got so much engagement because it resonated with people who were also working late at night, right? They feel you, but it also shows you in your element, like that behind the scenes. There's so many things other than using stock photos. But I do agree with you, Michael. Watermarking, and we publish a lot of photos in our digital publication, and we have to be careful because people will pick them up
Oh
and
yeah.
think they're public domain and use them. By having that watermark, it protects the innocent from who are just sharing a photo. We put our logo on most of our graphics and our photos because it's a way it's I'm promoting my business. This
Yes.
is what we're
Absolutely.
doing, right?
Yeah.
So if somebody shares it, it's now got my business information on it, which is important to make it not look like a ad, but more like it's just there because it's their business kind of thing. Because people then tend not to look at if it looks too much like an ad, they're going to stray away.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And a big part of it too is number 5. And I think if I had to, here's your big 5. But if I have to boil it down to say the top 2, it's photos and reviews all day, every day. That's where you really see a point of difference between companies who have it set up and companies who are actively working it. And when I go out and I get reviews, the biggest thing that you have to do is you have to respond to those reviews. And I see way too many companies going, thanks, appreciate it. Like people will go out and write this huge long testimonial of gratitude about how Maggie and Master at Media have made this huge difference in my business. The worst thing Maggie or I could do is go, thanks. And I see it all the time.
Yeah.
You got to remember that Google is looking at everything that you do. And so what I tell everybody is when you respond, make sure that Google knows what you do, where you do it, and how you do it.
And if you don't, you're missing an opportunity to promote your business. Like
Absolutely.
I always say, thank you, Jody, for watching us on Master It Monday. I'm
Yeah,
so happy that you found our social media tips. So, like using those again, it's keywords, right? Um,
absolutely.
Michael, we actually have a question from a Kevin Miller.
Sure.
Kevin asks, what would you recommend if I work out of my home, but I have a UPS mailbox, not a PO box for an address? It's a great question.
Yeah. Well, number one, I think it depends on what your business vertical is because sometimes you can hide the physical address. So, for instance, I show that I'm a trainer and my areas that I work, it's the United States and Canada because I do travel to Canada and do some training. So my service area is US and Canada, and I do not show my physical address at all. So you can hide that depending on what your business vertical is. Now, if you're real estate, you pretty much need to show the broker address, but you got to be careful, even if it's a physical U.S. post office address like that. Google doesn't like the PO boxes at all. I have seen them accept that as long as you are able to send and receive mail from that,
Mhm.
then I think Google is going to be okay with that. But they would prefer it to be a brick and mortar where somebody could actually drive up and see you there. So
Right.
depending on your vertical, you may just want to go out into info and hide that
Yeah.
address altogether and just show your service areas.
He is a business coach and trainer in the US. So, and it's interesting you asked that question, Kevin, because this actually happened to a mutual friend of ours, Michael, and they needed to verify the address.
Yep.
And when they went to verify it, it had the UPS box, but they didn't they no longer had the UPS box. They had canceled it. So that's when hide the address because then if somebody this is my opinion too, if somebody would go and look for you, Kevin, at your business, they may be driving by and
Yeah.
look for you and they get there and they're like, where is it? It's not,
Oh, this
it's not
is
Kevin.
shady looking. Well, yeah, he's
Right.
in a
Um,
shipping container down by the river. That's the kind of the mindset that comes into play for
yeah.
some
And
people.
you're very welcome, Kevin. Thank you so much for asking the question. All right. So
Yeah.
so
Maggie,
reviews are key,
yeah, I was gonna say,
and
Maggie, that's pretty much
responding.
all I've got right now. I think for many of you on here, the next step for all of you is to work with Maggie and really go in and set a consultation time up with her so she can go in, take a look at your page, see what they can do from a master at media point of view to help enhance that page, not just one time, but on an ongoing basis. That's going to be the biggest thing.
Right.
That's going to be an action item. All of you that are on here, you're more than welcome to attend any of the training sessions that I do. And those are located at michaeltritthart.com/events. She's got the scroll going down right there. And what I do in those sessions, the vast majority of them are going to be Zoom based. And it's, again, following the mentality of tell, show, do. You're going to have the ability within that 2 or 3 hour long course to actually go out and start to apply a lot of the elements that I'm teaching right then and there. So we have little miniature workshops. Even though we're in a Zoom world, lots of little miniature workshops to help you to get this all set up for you.
And one of the ones that kickstarted my YouTube channel was attending Michael's YouTube class. He has a class on YouTube. So it's not just about Google My Business. There's a number of different ones. I encourage you to go over to Michael's site and check out all that he has to offer. He's got a great resource page like we have on our site, which we have a free toolkit. Michael also has business. What is it? Business sites, Michael? It's something.
Sites for your business.
Sites for your
You guys
business.
go out to michaeltritthart.com and just top right, you'll see sites for your business. And as Maggie said, I think I've got like 7 pages that are broken down into different topics. For instance, lead capture and generation is one of those pages. And inside that page, there's like another 30 to 40 links that the vast majority of those are all free resources to help business owners. And it's a culmination of all the training that I've been doing over the last 20 years. Because the cool thing about traveling the US and Canada is you always pick up new tips. You know, somebody's like, oh, have you heard about this one? Have you heard about that one? I'm also going out and doing my own research and finding websites and relevant resources that are going to help business owners. And so instead of me sending people to all these different directions, I send them to one centralized spot to make it easier for them to find it all. And that is sites for your business.
And Michael has a whole section on Google, including the one that I always found very helpful, Michael, was where you can submit a question to Google support. You know, you can even chat with them. I mean, they're very responsive. I was very surprised. You know, it's not just, and look, everything we talked about today, this is the free version of Google. You know, this is not Google Ads, which is a valuable, you know, it's a valuable tool. Many businesses use them. I don't. You know, right now I'm just using the free version of Google My Business. That's what we help people get established on, have that page. You know, take the time to work on your business. We talk about this again. We keep bringing up mastery because there's so many tidbits. I've been doing it's been 2 years, Michael.
Yeah.
This May, the beginning of May would have been 2 years. And how are you know, all these little tidbits across the 2 years is working on your business, not just in your business. Because if you're not promoting your business, you're not going to be getting leads. It's going to die too.
Absolutely correct. And the best thing about Mastery, especially after Connect, which we had last week, we've announced that we have 3 new assistant coaches joining the group. And that is Dr. Travis Perry, Chris Angel, and Ursula Mentes. And all 3 of them, amazing. I mean, they did an amazing job at Connect. But Ursula, she did a VIP session for Connect. And we're on stage and we're talking in front of a large group. And she's like looking at the group going, guys, I'm now part of Mastery as one of the assistant coaches. If you were outside of Mastery and you wanted to work with me on a one-on-one basis, that's $100,000 a year. That's the fee. So
Right.
she's looking at everybody like, wake up, you know, you need to be part of Mastery. And everybody's looking around like, wow, this is a pretty good deal. And it is. It's amazing because you not only get to learn from those assistant coaches, but Chaz Wilson, who is the CEO of Master Networks, of course, is in there quite a bit. I'm in there leading probably 98% of the calls each week. We've got and now we've got such a large, diverse group. We have so many different business owners, different walks that are helping others to build and grow their business, which is the best part. And I see that Frank has a question down there that said, Google Post area looks like it is for a special offer or products. I have a travel planning service, not a product. Is it okay to post travel news? Absolutely. Because
Yes.
here's another way of thinking of post. They're billboards. So what do you want to say about your business or about your industry? And if the travel planning service, maybe you want to say something along the lines of U.S. citizens can now travel to Mexico mask free. I don't know. I mean, whatever the announcements is, or are on your industry or your business, that's what you want to put in there. And the big thing about it too is it can just be announcing, or you can post an event, or you can actually go out and provide a discount, like 10% off for first responders. So there's a couple different elements that come into play with that. But the biggest thing is it's you, Frank, talking about your business or your industry to create awareness.
Right.
And the cool thing about it too, and Maggie can definitely help you with this. You go out and create a Google My Business post. From that post, you can then share it out to other social media platforms, such as Facebook,
Mhm.
such as Twitter, Instagram, whatever the case may be. So if you need that assistance in getting those other platforms set up, that's where Master Media comes into play. And then she can basically just create this one big social media marketing machine that can be really amazing for your business.
And we're happy to help, Frank. I mean, that is one of the things that I decided to create Master at Media because I was running into the same problems other businesses were running into, which was, how do I promote myself on social media? How do I find the time to do this? And I developed a process that's from strategy all the way through completion, right? It's concept to completion. So business owners don't have to struggle with all of this stuff. We meet once a month with our clients and we strategize. It's not just, look, I've been in IT for 35 years. I went to college for IT. I was programming on punch cards, for gosh sakes. And in that 35 years, I can, it was so funny. Somebody had an issue. They called me up. And I'm tooting my own horn here, but I've got to tell you, in 5 minutes, I solved a problem they were working on for hours that they couldn't figure out. And they're like, how I want to be like you. I said, it's very simple. Just spend 35 years in the IT world and work on a computer 20 hours a day and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's all the years that I've made mistakes and I've researched software and things like that. And that's why, like, when I run my payroll, do I run my payroll? No, I don't know how to do payroll. I hire somebody who does, and it's off my plate. And that's where Master Networks comes into play. Make sure that if you haven't visited masternetworksnyct.com or masternetworks.com, this is my local region here. I'm the technology advisor in our regional advisory board. That's where I met Michael, and we met at Connect a couple of years ago. And then through this, if you do want to learn more about the mastery program, of course, you can reach out to me here as well. Michael and I meet every week in a group coaching environment. And
Yep.
look, if you need help with your business and you just don't have the money for a one-to-one coach, this is by far the best bargain you are ever going to get. So reach out to me. I'll be happy to introduce you to Michael. You can also reach out to Michael. Again, don't forget Michael's events that he has, and you can find michaeltritthart.com. And he's, you can email him there and reach out or send a note. But, these are great. The fact that Michael's doing these virtually, I remember you were running them. We were supposed to go pre-COVID. I think it was over in Pennsylvania. I would have
Yeah.
had to drive 3 hours to see Michael. Now I can see him in a click of a button from the comfort of my own home. So,
But as a trainer who likes to be on stage, I'm kind of jonesing to be back out on the road.
you're talking to me about being on stage,
Yeah,
Michael?
yeah. We did a session last month in Georgia, so it was a hybrid session, so it was great. We had 400 people in the room, and then we had like 120, 130 on Zoom as we did it. So it was good to kind of get back to a little bit of normalcy out there and see everything that's happening from a business owner. Because Maggie just touched on Master Networks. Guys, we are seeing a massive increase in enrollment to Master Networks because people have realized that networking matters. for their business, more so than ever. They've also realized they need to have that human connection, that human element in their business. Whether we do it via Zoom or whether we do it in person, we need to have that interaction
Right.
for our business to thrive. And so we're seeing great numbers coming in, not only in terms of enrollment, but also in terms of joining Mastery. So if you want to level up your business, it's definitely something you want to take a look at.
Right.
Amy did ask a great question here. She says,
She
I have some
does.
videos that are about 3 minutes. Are they okay to post on Google My Business? Yes and no. And let me explain. If I go in and I add photos and videos into the photo field, the videos themselves, they need to be MP4 and they need to be about 20 seconds long. And what I always tell everybody is, again, maybe it's I'm in my downtown McKinney, Texas, which is a pretty cool little downtown. It's me kind of panning and putting it into the system. That's about all I have time for.
Okay, so videos need to be an MP4 and 20, you said no more than 20 seconds long?
It's usually about 20 because it's really more the memory size. So sometimes you might be able to get like 20, 25, 30 seconds, somewhere in that ballpark. But Amy mentioned that she has 3-minute long videos that are out on IGTV and Facebook. So what you really want to do in that case, Amy, is probably create a post talking about those videos and linking out to where they are located. And the cool thing about the post is you can have a call to action that goes along with that. So that would be the best place to put a video like that. So it can be added, but just not in the photo/video field because it's going to be too long.
And they will, the worst case scenario with something like that, they reject it.
Yeah.
You know,
And what do you do?
you
You find another way, right? You
right.
just find another way to get into the system, and that's where the posts come into play.
But the beauty, you touched on offers and, back to Frank's question, even though he doesn't have a product, you can still put it in the products field, you know? And Frank just is saying, thank you. Excellent. Very informative. You are very welcome, Frank. And we hope to see you next Monday on our Master at Monday. We do have a lot of support from our region. And this is, and obviously across the country, as we saw with Paula and Brian. It's again, you can't just be in one place, right? Your business, I'm on Facebook and Instagram and Google My Business and Twitter and LinkedIn, and I network and I'm part of a chamber or 2 chambers, and right, like you can't focus your business in one place because customers are finding you in multiple places. But here's the beauty of Master Networks. I put out a post and I get people who are liking it, who are
Right.
engaging it, who are leaving comments, right? Because they know me, they like me, they trust me because they meet me every week on
Right.
a call, right?
Absolutely.
So Michael, do you have any final tips or advice for our listeners today? We have Amy says thank you. She hasn't done any posts yet. Check it out. And Carolyn said, absolutely so helpful. Thank you. Carolyn's another Master Networks member there.
I would say there's 2 things as we wrap that you need to keep in mind is number one, you got a time block for anything that you do. So if you are going to go out and do this yourself, treat this as lead generation, and you need a time block for your lead generation, and make sure that you're adding in the photos, adding in all the information that you need to do, soliciting the reviews from past clients, current clients. But as you start to grow your business, I mean, you're here and you're spending this much time in your business, and for you to move the business here, what do you got to do that's different? Because there's not enough. I mean, there's only so many hours and minutes in a day. You can't adjust that part. What you have to do at that point is, in my opinion, 2 things. Number one, create leverage in your life. And that's where you can start to hire people, bring them on board to do certain things, whether you bring them on board as part of your team or you hire a master at media to go in and manage that for you. But then if you want to level up your business, you need to level up your knowledge and your expertise. And that's where you look at joining programs like the Mastery program that we have with 5+1 Mastery and Master Networks, and start running with the business owners that you want to start to run with. And
proximity, right? We talk about that proximity. And look, I've gained clients out of Mastery. so this is, it's a win-win. Plus, I'm meeting with industry leaders, like you were saying with Ursula, who's going to be one of our coaches. I cannot wait. She had a 30-minute VIP session that I attended that
Amazing.
I had wasn't it? Like
Yeah.
the tips that she gave, we actually in 30 minutes taught and we practiced it right then and there, that now I have an accountability partner who we are implementing. Because that's the thing. A lot of people will take a course. That's why it was lovely Brian like did it right away. They
Yeah.
take a course and then they, oh well, what happens? Great intentions and then they die. Don't let this valuable information that Michael has given you today just be one of those ideas that you forgot to implement. And if you need somebody for accountability, you've got to make sure you join the mastery program, because you walk out of that meeting and you have 15 ideas that you want to get started on, and they will keep you accountable.
Yeah.
So wonderful. And here is my last note to everybody. I want you to take the value that Michael Tritthart has given you today. This is insane amount of content. He provides this every time. He does his classes are so wonderful because he teaches you and then he gives you time to implement it. And as you're implementing, he's there for answering questions. And then you talk about it to solidify. So it's a three-pronged approach
Yeah.
because a lot of us attend classes and then don't do anything, right? So make sure you check out Michael's events and show him some love below. Tell him, and also I always encourage you, share your Instagram tags, put your review like Brian did so we can, reviews for Google My Business. Share it all in the comments below. If you're watching us on the replay, make sure if you're on Facebook, you like our video. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you click down there and subscribe and hit the bell. So every time we release a new video, you're notified and you can be informed when we go live. So Michael, thank you so much for all your time and talent and knowledge. I greatly appreciate it. We are here every Monday at 2:00. Every once in a while, I bring in a fantastic guest like Michael, who is going to share cutting edge, industry focused, get your business promoted information. Don't forget, you can always email me at maggie@masteritmedia.com. If there is something that has a burning question that you want answered, it might be a topic on an upcoming Master It Monday. So let us say goodbye, Michael. We can wave away, and of course, I will see you on Friday when we have our mastery call. And if you want to be in that call, you can come in as a guest for free and check it out to see what all the excitement is about. Right?
Yep. All right. I appreciate it. Thanks, Maggie.
Thanks so much, Michael. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye, guys.
And make sure we got great stuff. See you both. Talk to you later, Brian. Bye-bye, everyone.